y'all, thanks for tuning back into Chickanic. I hope everybody's having a good week. If you have not binge watched every single one of my 236 videos, I promise you have missed so many tips and tricks to save you a ton of time, money, and frustration in the future. But don't worry, you don't have to, because I'm celebrating today, guys. It's a big day for me. I'm fixing to tell you why. But before I do, in today's video, I am going to list my top 10 most time, money, and frustration saving tips from the last 3 years. So before I get into all them tips and tricks, I want to tell you why I'm celebrating this week. Well, first of all, 3 years ago, today, I had 21 subscribers. I had pretty much given up making videos. I only had a few on my channel. Pretty much nobody was watching them. I would get like 4 views. And I think my Facebook friends were tired of me begging them to watch them. But all of a sudden, in May of 2021, one of my videos took off. And I started making videos once or twice a week ever since then. And this week, we become 400,000 strong, guys. We are hitting 400,000 subscribers. That is so crazy to me and amazing. So yeah, we're celebrating. Get you in a comfy chair, get yourself a drink. I'm going to be giving some stuff away. I'm going to let you know at the end of this video how you can enter to win, because I'm going to be doing a 400,000 subscriber giveaway as soon as we hit it. So let's get into all these tips and tricks. Now, I'm going to blow through these 10 pretty quick, but if you have any questions or want more of an explanation, I have complete videos on every tip and trick I'm fixing to tell you. I will leave them linked in the description box below. All right, we're going to knock the biggest one out first. Why is your chainsaw hard to start? Now, a lot of you have probably seen this video because it's been seen 3.2 million times, which is insane to me, but the amount of comments I've received with people telling me, thank you so much, I can finally start my chainsaw, it just warms my heart. So I think it's one of the biggest things I should tell you. If you have a chainsaw, no matter what size, but definitely something that's over 50 cc's, you're going to want to pull the pull rope gently to get past that first compression stroke at least 2 to 3 times. And then after you do that, what that does is, if it has an impulse line or if it doesn't, it's going to let a little bit of fuel into your carburetor. Then the next pull, that's the important part that you need to do whenever you're going to start your chainsaw. Get past that first compression stroke and then release it just a little bit. You can get past that first compression stroke and then go to pull it. Let's turn it on. I promise, it is so much easier if you get past that first compression stroke. I'm telling you guys, those few gentle pulls while it's on choke, just getting that little bit of fuel in the carburetor makes a world of difference. While I'm at it, I might as well address the elephant in the room. In that video, I guess a lot of you commented that, I showed you my jigglies. And I really didn't show them to you. I was very far away in the video and you can't really get a good look. But at the same time, in 236 videos, y'all know I am either wearing coveralls or pants or long sleeve shirts, but there are times, and probably about 20 of my videos, that I'm wearing some Daisy Duke looking shorts or a tank top. And the fact is, I live in Arkansas, and in Arkansas, it gets 100 degrees with 80% humidity. And I was literally melting that day, okay? Melting when I made that video with chaps on and everything. Don't mind the doll shoes. I wasn't actually cutting with the saw. I was just starting it on the ground and turning it off. But I had so many people comment on my shoes. And I'll do better in the future. But I am going to wear whatever I want in my videos. Number 2, the big secret about trimmer line. Do not ever throw your trimmer line away, and always buy in bulk. Why? Because this stuff does not go bad. All you have to do is soak it in a bucket of water overnight and it will rejuvenate. A lot of manufacturers like Steel and Craftsman, when they sold their trimmer line, had it on the package to just soak it in water to keep it in good shape. Now, trimmer line has gotten exponentially more expensive. So the more you buy in bulk, the cheaper it gets by a lot. Now, you can go to the store today and buy a brand new spool of trimmer line and need to put it in a bucket of water to rejuvenate it. Why? Because stores get huge incentives to buy in bulk, just like you do at the store. At my small store, I would get hundreds of dollars off if I bought 500 pounds at a time. So what happens when a store buys in bulk? They let it sit around for sometimes years before it gets purchased. So even though it's brand new to you, you're buying old stock. So if you find that it's melting or sticking to itself or breaking off constantly, throw it in a bucket of water overnight. I promise it'll help. Number 3, if you have a walk-behind mower that sat over the winter time, you go to start it this spring and it won't start, do this little trick. Anytime a customer would bring something in that'd been sitting over the winter, before I even write the ticket, I will go out, I will raise the entire back handle up into the air to where the back tires are way up off the ground, and I will give it a good shake. What that does is jar the needle a little bit to come loose, because sometimes it gets stuck and won't let any gas get through. If it gets jarred loose, it'll let that gas go through from the float being a little off kilter, and usually it'll start right up. Number 4, if you own a pressure washer and you are letting it idle for over a minute, just a minute, you are destroying your pressure washer. And I know you're thinking, I don't believe you. Well, if you read the owner's manual, and I will go really in depth in the video showing you where it says it, you are not supposed to let your pressure washer idle for over a minute, or it says you will burn your pump up. And I would have probably 50 pressure washers come in a year that the engine would end up running fine and the pump was blown out. And putting a $175 pump with labor on a $350 pressure washer just wasn't happening. I ended up with so many pressure washer engines, it's not even funny. If I could just put them on something else, it would be cool, but you can't. So if you are running your pressure washer, always have the wand engaged. If you need to stop and do something, turn it off. Number 5, storing a 2-stroke. If you have a 2-stroke that you plan on storing, even if it's for years, this is how you do it. You are going to fill up the entire gas tank with straight 2-cycle oil. And then you're going to prime it into the carburetor and through the fuel lines and back it, returning it into the tank. Make sure it's everywhere in that fuel system. If you do that, you can leave your unit sitting for 10 years. Go back to it, pour that oil out, put in some fresh fuel, prime it until all that oil gets out and gets through your carburetor. It might smoke a little bit when you start it up, but I promise you, it'll run. Number 6. If you have let your machine sit over winter and you go to start it up and it will not start, I promise you that it is not your spark plug. I had so many customers that would come in and just want a spark plug to get their machine running in. And 99.9% of the time, it never was the spark plug. Now, I did still sell a ton of spark plugs, even telling them that it wasn't going to work. But just so you know, 99.9% of the time, it's always a fuel issue. The only time I ever really had a spark plug issue where I would have to change the spark plug for the machine to run was on some Kawasaki engines and on some of the Steels. And I think Echo started putting some of these small plugs in there too. If you have one of these tiny little plugs with a tiny little end on it, they will foul out on you, especially in the Steels that hold so much carbon inside the engine. Along with that video of the top 5 things I sell that you do not need is a primer bulb. A lot of people want primer bulbs thinking that that's the reason that their machine will not prime. Even though theirs doesn't have any cracks or holes in it, they think that that is the issue. But actually, if your primer bulb is still intact, it's always an issue with your diaphragms, your fuel line, or your fuel filter. I just don't want you to spend money that you don't need to. Number 7, there is an ethanol-free fuel scam. And if you haven't seen my video, you need to know about this. Now, I go real in depth in this video, but if you have not seen it, you might want to check it out. I would have tons of customers come in and tell me that they use ethanol-free fuel. And I'm like, no, my nose works and that ain't ethanol-free. I got a good schnoz. I can tell you it's not. And I thought they were lying to me. But the truth is they might have not known that they were buying fuel with ethanol in it when they went to purchase their fuel. I'm not sure how it goes across the pond, but here in America, there are many states that have shared pumps, which means the 89 octane might be right next to the ethanol free, and they have the same hose coming down. So if you go to pump your ethanol free fuel into your 1-gallon tank, that whole hose that's still sitting there is holding whatever the last person pumped. So if they pumped 89, you're going to get a half a gallon at least of ethanol fuel. Anytime you go to get your fuel for your small engines and you want to get ethanol free fuel, make sure to pump that first gallon or so into your vehicle. then you're safe to know that you're definitely getting ethanol-free fuel. Number 8, why does your chainsaw leak bar oil? Everybody's does. It's really quite simple. I would have tons of customers come into my repair shop every single year and ask me, could you check and see why it keeps leaking bar oil? And nothing was ever wrong with their chainsaws. When you are using your chainsaw, it is throwing tons and tons of bar oil up into the side cover. If you do not remove that side cover and clean all that out, it's just going to drip into your case. Also, it holds pressure in the bar oil tank itself, and there is not like a shutoff to the line where it comes to your bar. So you can relieve some of that pressure by just opening the bar oil cap and closing it back up, and sometimes that will help out tremendously. Now in the video, I go real in depth to it, but pretty much it's just they all leak. And unless it's leaking every single bit of its bar oil out, you don't have an issue. I have a better trick for you, and it's going to be like, why do manufacturers not put this on everything they sell? One, because they're in the business of selling parts, and they're going to make their money one way or another. But the fact is, this $5 part can save you hundreds of dollars at the repair shop if you use it. And all it is a fuel shutoff. And 90% of all the units out there don't have a simple fuel shutoff on them. Some things you can't put it on because there's no room. But the majority of things, you can have a fuel shutoff. It's like an awesome design. Why doesn't everybody do this? I have no idea. And all you gotta do, guys, is cut your fuel line, stick it in there, put some clamps on there, and when you go to turn your unit off, especially at the end of the season, it's pertinent. Now, you're going to still want to use a fuel stabilizer in there, because no matter what you do, unless you actually drain the bottom of the bowl out and get all of that gas out there, if you're just running it dry, there's always remnants left in there, just little tiny droplets of gasoline left in there that can cause havoc on your carburetor. Put your fuel shutoff on, use a fuel stabilizer. When you get done using your mower, don't turn it off. Turn your fuel off and just let it run until it runs out of gas. I'm telling you, this will save you so much money. If everybody did this, I'd lose a lot of money at my repair shop, to tell you the truth. Last but not least, number 10, the most common problem that we see come into the shop, no matter it's a 2-stroke, 4-stroke, riding mower, chainsaw, weed eater blower, 70% of every single unit that we get into the shop has water in the fuel. And that is the reason that it's not running. I just sold a push mower this week that the customer picked it up, took it directly home, calls me like 30 minutes later and says it went 2 strips and then died. And I said, did you put gas in it? They said, yes. And I said, well, I think he got a gas problem because I know it ran fine when it left here, so bring it back. And he put water in it. If you have a gas can that's been sitting since last year, get rid of that fuel. Do not put that in your car. Just get rid of it somehow, because depending on where you live, gas will just suck water out of the air, even if it is in a closed gas can. So I filled this little cup up with straight gasoline and let it sit on my counter for about 3 hours. And it was a very humid day. It was raining outside, although it is pretty humid here in Arkansas all the time. And the first thing you can notice is that it was condensating on the side of the cup like crazy, pouring droplets of water into the little cup. At the same time, the gasoline was evaporating, so you can actually see the level decline through this short 45-second, condensed video I've made of it, which I thought was pretty cool. But at this point, you can see it completely clouds up. It is totally full of water now. And then I go ahead and pull out my little sucker and test it and check this out. Bottom is full of nothing but water. I don't know how many times customers would say, I don't know how it could have got in there, but I promise you, it's always the problem. If your machine won't start, get one of these little pipettes, get down to the bottom of the tank, suck it, see if there's water in it. If you have it on a carbureted system, you can release the bowl nut, let some drip out, see if there's any water in it. That way you know what your issue is, because really, guys, 70% of the stuff we get into the shop has water in it. So that's my top 10 tricks of my last 236 videos. There's a lot more in there if you want to go check them out, but hopefully those will save you some time, money, and frustration in the future. Now that we got those knocked out of the way, let me talk about this giveaway. Now, I have to give a disclaimer before I start talking about it because I've had so many people get in contact with me that have been talking to scammers and they thought they were speaking with me. Anytime I give something away, my comment section will get bombarded with spammers. I will never, ever ask you for money. I leave a disclaimer at the end of my videos. I do not have Telegram. I do not have WhatsApp. I don't have any of those things. I will announce every single winner on my 400,000 giveaway video. I will not email you directly. I will not ask you to email me until we get to the point of I will respond on your particular comment. You will see my name, Chickanic, with a little check mark next to it. Click on that. Make sure it goes to my channel. If it goes to some channel with no content, that's not me. First, I am not sponsored by anybody. A lot of these products that I tell y'all to buy, I buy them myself. I use them. I love them so much. I feel that you might love them too. So I like to share them with you. But Depstech Endoscopes, and you all have seen them if you've seen any of my videos. I bought this one a couple years ago and have been sharing it on my videos numerous times because I love it so much. A lot of times it goes on sale for like 38 bucks, and so I tell everybody to buy it then. Usually it's about 70. I love this thing. I like to be able, it's a little camera. I'm able to go down into the cylinder to look at the cylinder wall and see if it still looks good. It saves me a ton of time, money, and frustration. And could be used in many, many different industries. Well, I guess Depstech saw my videos and they sent me a bunch of stuff. So I'm going to give it away to you guys. First, they sent me a DS260 endoscope, which it seems pretty cool. It's a little handheld one with a smaller screen. Pretty much probably does the same thing that these do. Like I said, these ones you can get online for 40 bucks. I always leave links. They also sent me the DS580. This thing comes in a carrying case and all. That thing's fancy, and it's an industrial endoscope. I think the cable is a little bit more heavy duty than this one right here. This is more like a wire hard one. This one seems more flexible. Still has, what is that, a 5-inch display screen? Yeah, so these are pretty sweet, and I'm giving them away. They also sent me this bad boy. I think it's the Depstech 630. I don't know. I'm going to have to look exactly which model it was. Like I said, I'm not sponsored by them. They just gave me all this stuff because I talk about them all the time. But this one's pretty cool. I'm going to leave links to all these in the description box below. But this one bends at the end. So I can go in and through turning it right here, it'll do a 90 straight up, or like, wait, 45 or something like, I don't know. Anyways, I can look up behind, all right? Forward, and it will twist all the way behind. That's awesome. Also, I like this one because the cable's like super short. It's only, I don't know, it looks like it's about 4 feet. This one has been great. Love it. I highly recommend it. But the cable is sort of ridiculous. I would never use this right here. I mean, if you're like going down a wall or something or through pipes, it's one thing. But I pretty much use about 6 inches of it. So yeah, that was pretty cool for them to give me some stuff. I'm just gonna give it away. All right. And more things. I have a bunch of hats. I have some Briggs hats, Vanguard. This one's got a little bit of sawdust on it from me building my shop. I've got some Echo hats. I've got some Husqvarna hats. I am also going to give away an Echo unit. I don't know if you know, whenever I closed my shop down, I got stuck with a bunch of units that I couldn't return because I didn't have the boxes to put them in. So I said I was just going to give them away when I had, promotions like this. So I'm going to give another one away. I haven't decided whether I'm going to give a trimmer away or a chainsaw. It probably depends on whoever wins, what they might want, because I got them. I might as well give them away to somebody. So all you have to do to enter to win is comment on the video. Comment on this video or any of the videos leading up to my 400,000 subscriber giveaway. And in it, it would be really cool if you tell me, have I helped you with any tips or tricks? I sure hope so. And before I go, I want to show you one more thing I'm doing. I decided to start a new YouTube store, and this is going to help out me and y'all a bunch. In my description box below, I always put whatever units I'm working on, the parts that I used, or whatever tools that I think that you might be interested that I used in the video. And you got to go through this long list of things without seeing what I'm talking about. With this Amazon store, you're able to be one click away from seeing everything that I used in the video, from the parts that I used or the tools, and be able to see them in pictures and decide if you want any of them yourself. Now I'm working on going back on all of my videos and adding this feature, but all of my new videos will have this. If you go to my store, the first top links will show all the common tools that I normally use, and then under each video, whatever I fix, it will show every part that you're gonna need. So instead of you having to click through every link to figure out what I was telling you to go look at, hopefully it'll save you some time, money, and frustration. So guys, thanks again for tuning into Chickanic. If you found yourself coming back over and over again to my channel, think about hitting that subscribe button. It helps out the algorithm to make my videos shown to more people to save them time, money, and frustration in the future. If you haven't found me at Facebook, find me at facebook.com/Chickanic. Find me on Instagram at TheRealChickanic, or find me at Chickanic.com, where you get your own t-shirts, hoodies, and long sleeve shirts. Thanks guys, and have a great day. And for those of you that don't know, I totally filmed this entire video in my Star Wars pajamas.